found a broken CV axle. So I'm gonna try to replace that here in my driveway. I'm gonna take you guys with me as I go. Alright, let's get it. Alright, first look. You know, I could hear it slamming around, so I just want to make sure the transmission isn't broke open or something. But it looks alright. And it did sound like it popped out, but I don't think it did. I don't know. So I'm kind of curious about that. It's kind of concerning. Another instance of the bin being super handy. I'm out in the snow. It's 30 degrees out, and here we are. I didn't even clean up the tools from when I did the control arms, and they were still in the bin. So now here we are. I did have to go get my big socket set, you know, back when Craftsman was still something decent. And I found that I do indeed have the right size, which is 36 millimeters for this nut. But I'm waiting on the lady to come out and step on the brake, because this is no longer attached. So I can't undo this nut. And I'm going to see if I can just take it out. I'm curious if I'll have to just swing this down. We'll take that upper control arm nut, which we have just recently installed, so it should come off pretty good. I was trying to be clever and not, because I don't have to reuse this nut. I believe I have a new one. I should have probably checked anyway, but I found kind of a clever trick that I thought I'd share. This was pounded in pretty good, which, by the way, is unnecessary. If it was just popped in a little bit, the nut's going to stay. So somebody went out of their way to really cave the side of that nut in. When I got on this with my breaker bar, I really couldn't even get it because it wants to roll off the nut. So before I, strip all the turns, the impact gun would probably get this, but I'm not going to drag an air hose out here and all that stuff. I just jammed this in there, and then the nail bent, right? But after I got it in there a little bit, I turned this on its side, I slid it in there and hit it pretty hard, and it was awesome. Look at how it opened it up. Absolutely perfect. So with that, I'm waiting on the old lady. I'm going to heat this nut up. I want to heat the diameter of the nut up to get it as big as possible to let go of that shaft. I don't have oxyacetylene right now, but I do have a propane Burnzo torch here. So I'm going to use the angle bar that comes with the jack. It had too much angle on it, so it kept trying to roll off the nut. I went in and got a proper 1/2-inch ratchet. Had the lady come out and turn the wheel, and then I put this big old aluminum tube on there that's about 3 feet long. So I probably had 2.5 to 3 feet of bar, and I turned the nut right off. We're at this point. I'm actually going to bump this with a hammer and see if I can push it back out of there. There we go. Womp womp. Now, I want to see if I can just get this axle out. I was able to tap it back a little bit, but it's pretty rusty up in there. I don't know if you can see it. So I'm going to try to help it along. Old doob gets the job done. And again, I'm going to take my hammer, like that. Hopefully. So we got the first half out. There it is. You can see it broke right where this was designed to rot by an engineer. And here's the rest of it. So what we're gonna do is we gotta pop the other end out. I can probably get it in pretty easy. I just gotta figure out a way to get it out.
Normally you would just pop a pry bar in there, I think. Just between the case carefully, obviously. But I'm kind of doing a topside repair here, and there's limited places to reach in. And so I may have to go in and get a smaller flat bar, because the flat bar I currently have out here is a little too long, and this flat blade screwdriver doesn't have the right angle. So the flat bar is the right approach, or angle bar, whatever you want to call it, but I need to get further up in there with it, and I think it's going to require a shorter tool. Back from dinner, I got a couple different pry options. I got a small Stanley screwdriver, and then I went and got my snappy pry bar. This is a little bit smaller than said orange one, right? So might be able to get it in there, don't know. Gonna do that off camera, get that CV axle out so I can put this back together. That guy was the magic. Now I'm gonna go in and see if I can't lay this out on the floor and make sure I got the right replacement. Doesn't look like the same length right now, I know, but look at this boot. I pulled this out and I can't get it back in. I'm not gonna screw with it. It looks like it's the same thing. The important parts like the spline and the diameter of this look the same. The same thing with this end. I'm going to assume it's the right length, and we're going to see what happens, because they said it fits. So the instructions here mention the C-clip on the inboard housing, which would be this guy, which was what I had to pry out of the transmission there. We want to put grease on it before we install it, and we don't want to use excessive force, because we could break the clip and it could go off in the transmission and I guess cause a bunch of damage. The other thing they mention is if this end keeps popping out on you, you may have something else going on, like a subframe connector or something. In my case, you can see this rubber damper, and it's clear to me that that's been cracked for a long time. And so we had some vibrations going on in the front end, and I kind of attributed it to old age, and when I did the control arms it got a little bit better, but this has obviously been going on for a while, so that's probably been the shake in the front end. I'm excited to go pop this back in. Wish me luck. Challenge will be getting this back in there, because obviously it's one piece now, so I may have to play some games here, and I may also have to take some more stuff apart. I don't really know. So I'm going to try sliding that on. I did find some Red and Tacky Lucas, good grease. I'm going to put that on that end that's going in the transmission, and we'll see what I can do. Good and greased up. The issue we got is I've undone the brake lines, the ABS lines, tie rod's still connected, and believe it or not, you still can't swing it through that hole. And the reason why you can't swing it through there is because the stupid sway bar link is in the way. I haven't tried, jacking up this A-arm or something or whatever, but I'm not interested. I'm going to try to disconnect this. So you see I got an Allen key in the end of it. Just wanted to show you that this stud just spins. Need to hold it. I cleaned it off with a wire brush. I've heated it with a propane torch. I'm going to heat it again, and then I'll put this Allen key back in there and we'll get it out of there, and hopefully this will swing up out of the way enough so I can get the axle in. After a fair bit of struggle, I'll be honest, I realized I had to take this yoke bolt off to get this yoke to move around enough so I could clearance that. Once I got it in, it was trying to figure out how to get it to properly seat in the transmission. And for that, I actually ended up using it kind of like a slide hammer and grabbing the end of it in here while I had the spindle stood up and just kind of knocking it with my hammer with little bumps while I was trying to jiggle the shaft up in here. Pause for a moment. And that's what got it. So now it's in there. You see, I got to put a slower bolt in down there. Got to hook my lines up and put my wheel back on, and I'm going to go, hopefully this thing's going to move again, or else I got bigger issues. Got the old torque bar on it. The old lady's in there standing on the brakes, and I got the torque meter ready. One more. I'm going to say it's tight enough. Alright. Good. Alright, there it is. Clean the nut. Double checking all my hardware. Solder pin. No, don't look at it. I reused it. Should never do that, but all I got for now. My car, I can do what I want. Bolt in. Looks good. I did bend the backing plate significantly. It's all rusted and rotted on the backside. No worries, I just pushed it away from it. I did have her verify and put it in drive. There's no more crazy noises. Alright, victory is mine. Now, I'm just double checking wheels. I just took this for a little bit of a spin up and down the road to make sure everything's good. And she does go just fine. It was just that CV shaft, so now it's a matter of time for the other one and or something else to break. Now I want to talk about, we got a quote to fix this. It was $384 is what he said it was going to cost about, and that the part needed to be ordered. And anyway, I did it myself. It took me 2¼ hours in my driveway in the snow, and it's 30 degrees out. So it would cost 120 bucks for the part. That from 380 leaves me 260. So in $260, I saved in 2 hours and 15 minutes or so. Start to finish. Done. It's worth it. Do it yourself.